Hey, Doug here with an episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners. And today I'm going to do a solo episode chatting about kind of an update since the grand opening of our second location. And so, just for some high level context, recording this in October, we opened to the public in, I believe it was late June, June-ish. So, we're talking 3 or 4 months. So we've got kind of our good base. We covered in previous episodes, if you want to go back, what I did for grand opening. And we opened up with about 55, 57, just somewhere in that range of active paying clients. Those were our founding members. They received a couple things, but the main thing, aside from bonuses and such, was they received 20% off. So that kind of gave us a good base. And basically, we were break even with one coach. So we opened up the facility with one coach, and they were the head coach. They did the sales. So they essentially coached all morning. Another important note with this model is we're mornings only. So we run from 5:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There are like 6 or 7 sessions in that stretch, basically back to back to back. And so, as you can imagine, one of the first things we faced was that, so we got to break even, which was awesome, right? Opened up at break even. We got the head coach cranking. He's a rock star. We love him. And the reality kind of hit that this is not super sustainable. So within a month or so, if you're coaching, as you know, 6 or 7 sessions a day straight through, little to no break, that's pretty draining. So, he was willing to grind it out. But one of the decisions we made was to hire the second coach. So this model that we built is built off of two coaches. So you have the head coach that we had, and then your secondary coach. So your secondary coach, we arguably, could have increased revenue just by adding clients with the single coach. But I think a strategic decision that Josh and I made was to hire the second coach simply due to the fact that, our head coach, Nick, we wanted to make sure he had time to do sales because we still have new sales coming in. But two, just from a longevity standpoint, coaching 6 or 7 hours a day is a lot. And so getting this second coach in has been super helpful because, they're onboarded, and now the load is, maybe say 4 sessions with the new coach, which will probably be 5 long-term. And then the remaining 3 or 4 sessions with Nick, the head coach. And so what our focus has been since we've opened is, continuing to figure out the newness of I think there's a lot of, appeal to being a founding member, the new spot in town. And so the first thing we kind of figured out once we got the staffing piece figured out. So now we got the two coaches, our admin, she is doing lead follow-up from both locations. And so we've centralized lead follow-up across both locations. But from a growth standpoint, obviously, we were sitting at 55 or 60 clients, and capacity at this location and all future locations, we anticipate to be about 120 to 130 clients. So obviously still plenty of room to run as far as adding clients go. So that would obviously, kick off with marketing. And so the shift was, okay, what worked for grand opening marketing, although the mediums, the methods of which we're reaching out to, paid ads, local community outreach, that still continued. However, the offer had to switch, right? Because the founding members, we were very strict that after 50, they're gone. We had people come in that first week that said, hey, I had inquired, our founding membership still available? No, all 50 are sold out. Although that kind of stinks to say, I think it had actually a long-term and even kind of midterm benefit of honoring that. So honoring that those are sold, but what's our new kind of angle? So a couple things we've done that have been really helpful. One, just a continual emphasis on who we work with and who we don't work with. And I know that sounds super simple, but I think in the beginning, when I first started Location One in 2012, so we're talking 13, 14 years ago, I was the whole, hey, we're everybody. We offer all this stuff. And if you want a gym, we're the place for you. And, you know, decade and a half later, really seeing the benefit of saying this is the single, type of person. So for us, it's people over 50 who have either never been to a gym or it's been decades since they've been to a gym. They typically have a nagging injury that they're dealing with, etc. We call out that specifically in all of our marketing. And I'm talking paid ads. That's what we write our emails about. That's who we have as social proof on our print stuff, everything. And basically saying, if you're not that type of person, you're not a good fit here. You're not going to like it here. And I think that can be, I know for me, it was nerve wracking to be like, well, we're only going to focus on this one specific avatar. And it's similar to the decision of we're only going to focus on mornings only. I think there's really been no downside, no, we have people all the time that say, I love that this is, I'm not going to walk in and see, a bunch of young, fit folks. And again, not saying you have to go, the lesson is not that you have to go after the same avatar as us. I think the lesson is pick one single avatar and make sure not only that you pick the avatar, but that your messaging across all of your platforms, paid ads, organic social, website, your social proof. That was a big thing. We actually cleaned out a lot of our old social proof. When I say social proof, I mean things like your pictures of your clients, your testimonials, etc. We actually cleaned out those because some of our older clientele were a different population, great people, but they might have been younger, they might have been more capable, they might have been doing things in the, for example, if they're doing a trap bar deadlift. You and I understand a trap bar deadlift is perfectly safe for almost everybody, but to somebody that's intimidated by the typical gym, never been there before, sees this hexagon shaped bar or this odd bar that they're trying to pick up, they instantly think, wow, that looks super scary, or wow, I'm going to hurt my back with that. Even though you and I don't know, you and I know that's not true. From a public's perception, we're very sensitive to what our brand looks like and continues to reinforce who we help as a specific avatar. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson in these first 3 or 4 months, aside from figuring out the staffing, is just continuing to dial in that avatar and getting more and more specific with that avatar. Another lesson or kind of thing that has worked is a very conscious effort to referrals. And again, I know it's like, yes, we all get referrals, but here's the way we thought about it is, we had 60 clients or so and capacity is about 120. So I said to the team, I said, listen, if everybody, all active clients just bring in one client, one friend, one referral, the location's full, right? Now, the reality of that happening is slim to none. But what we did do was conscious strategy, conscious decisions on how are we going to ask for referrals within the community. And the easiest, low-hanging fruit we've done is we just made 7-day guest passes that were oversized postcard. So a 5x11, 6x11, something like that, with a 7-day guest pass on it, some pictures of current clients, and literally handed them out at the end of sessions to clients. So they weren't, on a pile at the desk. They weren't emailed out. They weren't texted out. They were literally postcards. We only had to print, 50 or 60 of them. So it wasn't a big expense, and just made sure to say, hand deliver at the end of every session. Hey, as you know, we're trying to, grow this location. We love working with you. We'd love other people just like you. If you know anybody that fits, the type of person we're looking for, give this to them. They can come in with you for 7 days, try it out. And that's been a significant part of our growth is getting those referrals in. The other one is paid ads. I still think that paid ads is a huge part of the current marketing for fitness businesses. And if you're not doing paid ads, um, I think we're probably missing out on a significant amount of new business. And really understanding the two metrics of cost per lead and client acquisition cost. So cost per lead being I spent $1,000 on marketing and I got 100 leads, $10 per lead. That's what I spent, right? So cost per lead, typically right now in our industry, we like to see somewhere between $20 and $25 cost per lead. And then client acquisition is saying, okay, great, we got all these leads at 20 to 25, maybe even less than that per lead. But how many actually became clients? And our rule of thumb is under $200. Now, arguably, I would maybe bring that up to say I at least want it to be less than what their first payment is, right? So that way I'm cash flow positive right away. I don't need to make a ton of money in the first payment, but I do need to at least cover my costs. So if, for example, they're paying $200 in their first payment when they join, I would want my client acquisition cost to be less than that. And so in these first 3 or 4 months, because it's a new location, what is working at location 1 and working at location 2 is not always the same. That was another lesson from a marketing perspective is like, it's a new community. We don't have roots in that community. Some people know who we are. Some people don't. It's just far enough away that there's a lot of people that didn't even know our brand. And so certain strategies that worked really well at location 1 are not working at location 2, and the opposite as well. For example, we're big fans of an informational packet, info packet, basically a PDF that has some social proof and a little bit about you. In Kennebunk, which is our flagship location, we run paid ads to that. We run paid ads to it in Scarborough, our second location. And over these last 3 months, it's been very interesting to see same ad, same copy, same everything. And Scarborough, the new location, is crushing it on an info packet. Info packet in Kennebunk is, not, I wouldn't say it's doing awful, but it's not doing great. Like it's not certainly a stronger performing ad for us. And so, lesson for everybody would be, you got to pay attention to the stuff. If you are going to be running paid ads, pay attention to it, know what works, know what doesn't work, know your numbers. But it's very interesting because my hypothesis is that we have been in Kennebunk since 2012. And so the amount of people that don't know who we are or don't know about us is pretty small town. We've been around forever. So the amount of people that are interested in an info packet, it makes sense that it's going to be less than a town that we've never been in before. They don't know who we are. There's probably a lot more people in that just, I want to learn more stage. And so we're hopeful that the people that download the info packet today, and this was maybe another lesson, people that downloaded info packet today are not going to become clients this month, most likely. Do we convert 1 or 2 of them to clients? Hopefully. But the reality of something like that is that they're now aware of what we do. They've kind of read a little bit about us. We've got their contact info. So now they're getting our content. So maybe a month from now, 3 months from now, in the new year, they are ready and we're the solution that they think of. So a combination of trying to get to capacity as quickly as possible. Our capacity, as I mentioned, is 120. We're trying to get there as quickly as possible. Our goal is by the end of the year. As of today, we're sitting at about 75, I believe, mid 70s. And so the nice thing is we're back at break even. So those 15 or 20 clients that we added basically pay for the salary of the second coach. So around 75 to 80 clients is our new break even with 2 payrolls. So now it's really just a race to see how can we, max it out, because for Josh and I as owners, our personal financial benefit has been zero until we pass 80. And now from 80 to 120 is everything else. And so, of course, the goal is to then multiply that into multiple locations, et cetera. But those are some of the big lessons since the 3 or 4 months we've been open. Is just figuring out the staffing model, figuring out or really dialing in. We already had it figured out, but really continuing to not be afraid to dial in the single avatar that we work with, and then figuring out the messages and the offers. Continuing, we're spending just as much on paid ads today as we were during grand opening. We never took our foot off the gas there, and I think that's been a big part of it. We've never taken our foot off the gas on some of our local community stuff, dropping off the fish bowls, doing the business visits. It's not at the volume at what we were doing when we were doing grand opening, but it's every month. There's always fish bowls going out. We always have a list of businesses that we're visiting for the community outreach stuff. So I think the lesson would be, an analogy I've been using with coaching clients a lot lately is in your marketing strategies, your paid ads, your grassroots stuff, your email, your text, etc. Never a light switch, right? It's never an on off. It's a dimmer, right? It's a dimmer. So there may be a certain time of year where you want to ramp up and really push that dimmer to the top and spend a ton on paid ads or do a ton of local stuff. But then there might be a month where whether it be, capital or bandwidth, you need to bring that down a little bit, but it never goes completely off, because restarting that momentum, rebuilding momentum, is just like it is in physics. It's hard. In marketing, it's hard. So we never want to switch it off. It's always just been figuring out these dimmer switches. Where do we need to get for us to hit our goal? Netting 5 to 10 clients per month is I think a realistic goal where we can factor in some churn. We're not, crushing our team with overwhelm where they're having to, meet with all these new people, but it's enough steady growth each month. So hopefully that was helpful. Lessons learned and observations in the first 3 or 4 months since opening location 2. And just to preview, we are moving forward with location 3 this winter. So we're starting build out now and should have that ready to go in another 2 or 3 months. So I'm sure we'll have more then. But that is another episode of The Wealthy Gym Owners, and we'll be back soon.